Shalom and welcome once again to Treasures of the Torah. I'm Moreh Matan, Pastor Matt McEwen, and this week our Torah portion is Wajiekra. There is an interesting verse in the Torah, in our new book of the Torah, Wajiekra, chapter 2, verse 1, that says, when any person brings a meal offering to Hashem. When any person brings a meal offering. Now, if we were actually reading in the Hebrew, what it says here is when any soul brings a meal offering. So let's first look in our commentary series, Wellspring of Torah, that we're going through this year. Let's first look at Rashi, and then let's also look at the Chassam Sofer. So it says, the literal rendering is, and when a soul brings a meal offering to Hashem. Rashi says this, who usually brings a meal offering? A poor man. The Holy One, blessed be He, says, as it were, I will regard it from him as though he had brought his very soul as an offering. Now, let me just stop here for a moment and talk about this. Rabbi Steve Bernstein in our yeshiva is very quick to point out that when someone brings an animal sacrifice, that it is as if that person is saying, this animal is a stand-in for me, that we are thinking of, and maybe even visualizing. It's me on that altar. Now, the same is true when someone gives maybe one of the poorer offerings. And this, by the way, in the first year of the yeshiva, in the kosher pastor classes that I filmed a while back, this is something that we talk about there, the grace of Judaism. So there are times when someone is instructed to give a certain type of offering, but if they can't afford that, well, then the Torah allows for an offering to be given that is less expensive. This grace is very inspiring to me. But what Rabbi Steve Bernstein says is we need to regard that sacrifice that's on the altar. It is as if that is me up there. Now, apparently, what Rashi is saying here is this is the same as when someone brings a meal offering. Now, let me read to you this other comment. At first glance, it is difficult to understand why the word soul is used to refer to a person's bringing of a meal offering, but not to describe individuals making burnt offerings of fowl. Wouldn't it be logical to assume that the flour, oil, and frankincense needed for a meal offering cost much more than a turtle dove or a young pigeon, and that therefore an individual offering fowl would be poorer than one who brings a meal offering? This seems logical. This is a great question. Doesn't the flour and the oil and the frankincense cost more than a small bird? But this can be tricky, and so let me continue. However, if someone brings a meal offering, it is obvious that he does not even have the pennies to buy a pigeon. Therefore, he takes a little flour and a little oil from the produce that he has gathered as the poor man's leavings or the forgotten sheaves from the fields, and offers this as a sacrifice, depriving himself of the little food he managed to scrape together. This is a sacrifice that may be said to be considered as though he had brought his very soul as an offering. I love the poetry of this comment, and I love the insight here, because what's really going on is if a poor person can't even afford a turtle dove or a pigeon, well, where is he going to get the grain for the meal offering? I love the insight here that says that he gets the offering. Remember, we learn in the Torah about rounding off the corner of the field, to leave the corners of the field for the poor, and if some drops out of your sheaf of grain, to not pick it up, to leave that for poorer people to come along and to pick up and gather so that they can have food as well. So if a person is so poor that they're bringing a meal offering, we can assume that they are picking up these scraps, these leftovers, and of that they are giving. So I want us to think about that. I love this comment where it says, the little they have that they were able to scrape together for food, for themselves, they are giving of that for their offering. It's astonishing. It really does remind me of where Yeshua in the Brit Chadashah talks about this widow that has 2 small coins, 2 mites, as we might call them. And what does he say? She gave more than the people who gave lots and lots of money because she gave out of her need. She gave what she needed to survive. You might even say that the person that gives the meal offering in this case may even have a stronger faith than the person who brings an animal, because someone who can afford to buy a small bird is certainly better off than someone who has to scrape together what they can for their food and take from that and give to the Lord. This is a wonderful and inspiring comment that perhaps we can take with us throughout our week. Listen, you might not think that you have a lot to give, but we are instructed to give. And there are many ways that we can give, and there are many causes to which we can give. Right now, as you know, we have a shortfall of quite a lot of money. At least $45,000 to $50,000 for our synagogue project in Zimbabwe. Now, that's a lot of money for an individual, but it's not a lot of money for thousands of people to put a little bit in each. If you'll remember in the previous week's Torah portions, that one section where it says that Moses had to tell the people to stop giving. They had too much. Wouldn't it be wonderful if that was the case for us in our work that we are doing around the world? Right now, it's not. Right now, we're not saying to stop giving. Right now, we are saying, bring it. Even bring a meal offering. Maybe even say, okay, I'm going to fast one meal a week or one day a week, and the money that I would normally spend on that food, I'm going to give. That would be a wonderful thing. Maybe even just fast from fast food or extra little things, specialty coffees or other drinks that we like to get, especially in my country. We like to get specialty drinks, coffees and teas and things that might cost a little extra money. Maybe do without that for a week and give that money to the cause. I think it would be not only honorable, I think it would not only honor the Lord, but I think it would show that everyone is putting their little piece in, and then the Lord can multiply it. I hope this lesson has been a blessing to you. I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom from all of us here at Ahavat Ami International and Yeshivat Shuvu. And I pray that no matter what you have to give, even if it's small, that you would give it as if you are giving of your own soul to the Lord. Shabbat Shalom and Kol Tuv.